On Budget Day, TWnewsmaker has come to Luton to the headquarters of Tui Travel UK and Ireland to speak to Managing Director Johann Lundgren about tax, the state of the UK economy, the market for this summer and moves to extend Atol protection for consumers. So Johann, welcome to your offices in Luton. Thank you for having us here today. We're speaking on the day of the budget. Presumably you're happy with the freeze on rates of APD, but that implies increases to come in future. What are the implications for Tui Travel and for your customers?
Well, in general, I believe that the taxation needs to come down going forward. Now I understand that this is more of a mid-term, long-term, reasonable request. So it's good from that perspective that if we'll now see that will happen, that they will freeze it. But we definitely believe that there should be changes into the way that this is structured. One of them is clearly the banding. The whole idea that you, for instance, are paying the same amount in APD going to Egypt as you would be doing going to Hawaii because of the way the banding structure looks like is simply ridiculous. We are disappointed also that it hasn't been changed into a per plane tax. And also to say in regards to your second question, that this implies future rises. We sincerely do hope that this will be a tax that will be replaced by the ETS, the European Union, the emission trading scheme, when that gets into place in 2012. Because just by adding it up, it really doesn't make sense. It wouldn't be good for anybody.
Isn't the oil price a bigger problem? Do you see it going higher?
You're right. I mean, the oil price is a big issue for us. I mean, having said that, we are not as dependent on that as an airline or a pure air carrier would be, because out of the share or proportionally, it is not to the same extent as a pure airline would have that in terms of the cost and the price for the customer. Any cost implications, whether that is on the increased cost of the oil, has to partly be compensated by reducing cost elsewhere in the company, as we've done in the past, as we're doing right now, as we will do going forward as well. And we're going to put the prices out to the customer that we believe provides a good value for money proposition for them.
Inflation rose again this week. What impact do you see on spending on holidays this summer and on pricing for future seasons?
History shows that the main holiday that customers do take is one of the last things that they actually are ready to say that, well, we're not going to do it now. I think that people are prepared to go through some difficult times, but they really want to have that 1 week or 2 week holiday every year. But then again, having said that, if interest goes higher, then there's a likeliness that the pound will strengthen again, which will then also benefit ourselves. So there's all these things that matters in the whole scheme of things. So we just got to take everything into consideration. And once again, keep coming back to the fact that what we can do and what we're doing is focusing on developing our product. We know that we have a lot of successes in our current portfolio, and it's just as much about trying to get more of these products out to the market and price it properly and provide a good value for money proposition for our customers.
Longer term, can the UK get back to the level of 2007, or was that an artificial high in the market off the back of the easy availability of credit?
I think that also history shows that the market will bounce back. They will come back, but to what level and to what extent, there's difficult to tell when that will happen. Will it come back to the same level? Yeah, I think it will at some point, because then it will be probably fueled by something else.
Sales for this summer started very well in the market as a whole, but seem to have taken a downturn more recently. Is Tui Travel doing better than the market? And in light of demand, are you looking at capacity?
If it wouldn't have been a reduction in demand, given everything that we've seen, from Egypt to Libya to Japan to the economy, uncertainty about the budget as well, it would be very strange. We got off to a very good start, as you rightly said, and then there has been a slowdown on it. And we will always try to look and balance the supply with whatever demand we believe we have within our products as well. And that won't change going forward either. So we're quite adaptive and want to have that flexibility and sustain the flexibility in the future as well.
How soon can Egypt and Tunisia come back?
People are willing to go to these destinations if the price is right. It sounds pretty strange, but the fact is that if the price is right, you're willing to say, well, you know what, I'm going to go then, regardless of the fact that it might seem as uncomfortable because it's close to Libya or within that region. And history also shows us that these things can change very quickly. We are having intense discussions with our partners in Egypt and Tunisia, and also with the governments in there, in what we can do and what they can do also to stimulate demand. And it's very clear, rates on the hotels needs to come down to provide an extraordinary value for money. This has been destinations who's been known for the value for money proposition that they offer to the customers, and I think that they need to re-emphasize that message.
How happy are you with your distribution network? Do you see any gaps?
No, I don't think we have gaps. I think that we are in all the relevant channels. I think that we are our strategy within distribution is to make sure that we're following the customer demands. So I think that our strategy is more to say that we're going to be in all the relevant channels, and we want to make sure that we offer a better proposition than anybody else in those channels, whether that is retail, on the web, or by our call centers.
Do you plan to reduce the number of shops you have?
Evaluate all our shops on a shop-on-shop basis. If they're loss-making, if it doesn't make sense, if there's overlap and we're overrepresented in one area, that will have one consequence. On the other hand, if we are underrepresented in one area, we see an opportunity, we will open shops. I think we have opened shops last year. We're opening shops this year as well, but we're also closing down some shops that doesn't make sense. But there's no doubt that the industry in general are seeing more growth in the online channels, and that will and has also been reflected in the shop estate. When
you saw Thomas Cook plan to merge with the cooperative group, did you think that was a deal Tui Travel should have done?
No, I didn't feel that way. Commenting on other companies' acquisitions is always difficult because you're disadvantaged to the fact that you don't have the information that they had. This would have not been in any way, shape or form something that would be part of our plan to do, not then and not now either.
Are you happy with the proposals for a Flight Plus Atol to extend consumer financial protection? Do the proposals go far enough?
Well, it's a step in the right direction that is now supposed to include, and clearly, dynamic packaging part of it as well. But I think that it doesn't go as big as it should be. It should be more inclusive on the fact that this should actually also include carrier selling seat-only proposition. It is utterly unfair and illogical, the fact that if you're buying a seat from a scheduled carrier, you're not included, but if you're buying a air-only seat from a charter holiday or through a travel agency, it should be included. There's no logic behind that, and that has to be changed.
Would you be happy to see Abta provide trust arrangements for members who require a Flight Plus Atol?
I don't think that's the right way to go. We believe there should be one set of regulations. Just because the regulations we have today is not functional, is even dysfunctional in some of the areas, and doesn't provide a level playing field. To just put on a different set of regulations, I think will incur more cost to cover the different sets of regulations that is in there, and it will add to the confusion that is already out there. So I think that the effort should go into actually fixing the regulations that we have at the moment, and we believe that it should be governed by the CAA, and that's where our standpoint is.
Are you comfortable with the idea of retailers acting as agent of the customer to avoid the Atol regulations?
Some Abta members would then, by doing this setup, avoid paying these costs that rightly other Abta members are paying. Is not fair either. This is just adds to the confusion, it adds to the complexity, and it actually dilutes the whole purpose of these regulations that were put in place in the first instance. So I think that we would not like to see that happen, and I would believe that the authorities would come down on any company who would try to do these things.
Could you conceive of Tui Travel making alternative arrangements to provide consumer protection if it was sufficiently dissatisfied with the proposals?
I mean, it's not to make that clear. It's not something that we would like to see. We believe that there is a relevance for this type of regulations in there, and we want to be in the scheme. The thing that we're asking for is actually just to make sure that we're not disadvantaged from a competitive point of view on this one as well. If we are running out on roads, if we're seeing that the things that we would like to change within the system is going nowhere, we're not going to be in a uncompetitive situation on a sustainable basis going forward. So that might be one option that then needs to be addressed, but we hope we're not going to get to that place. But we can't either run a business where we basically are disadvantaged.
The past 2 to 3 years have been particularly challenging. Do you see the next 2 to 3 years being similar, easier, tougher?
And what the past 2-3 years has told us is that there are things out there that you cannot really control, whether that is fuel price, geopolitical problems and issues, or natural disasters as well. But what you can do and what you have to do in a company such as yourself, you got to be able to handle the consequences on that. That means that you got to take a look at the way you plan your programs to make sure you have flexibility in your programs. You got to make sure that you also are dealing with some of the risks that increased cost in fuel deals with, i.e. you hedge your fuel and also the currencies that you're buying as well. In so much in advance, you can compensate that with taking out cost in your own company, put some of that in perhaps into the prices of the consumer. So it's actually how you manage the risks on that as well. Well, it's this saying that you plan for the worst and hope for the best.
Johann, that's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's 36 to 38 degrees Celsius. No higher, no lower. It's soft, but not too soft. It's just enough to smooth things out. It's all of this, halfway to anywhere, with plenty of time to spare. The Qatar Airways Premium Terminal in Doha. 5-star service for first and business class passengers. Qatar Airways, the world's 5-star airline.